If your objective is to run your own tournaments, you'll want to give this video a watch. Welcome to the Dice Gods. My name is Hydra, and today we are going to be taking a review, but a little bit more on the views, kind of a discussion as well, of a couple of 3D printing files. How exciting does that sound? Trust me, way more interesting than you'd think. Before we dive into that, let me just say a quick thank you to, as ever, patrons and members who are making all this possible. There are so many more of you at the moment, it's insane. Every time I turn around, there's new members and patrons. It's really, really awesome. So that's great. If you haven't joined, do consider doing. There's lots more stuff for members and patrons. We have a Discord, starting to get some noise and traffic on it, which is cool. But also, like, I think in the last month, there was 3 or 4 hours of extra me for members and patrons. That may be a good thing, it may be a bad thing. I'll leave that up to you. So thank you to them, specifically Chris Sexton, Mr. Cheshire, Michael Rowan, Robert Foster, Sean Colburn, Robin Van Diem, Riddick Wolf, Kaz, Chaos Discordia, and Joe Rogers, because they're at the top tier, and then there's like 50 other ones that are here. It's just amazing. So thank you all so much for the support. It keeps me going, and I'm going to need a bigger bit of paper. It's getting concerning. Anywho, thank you also to the manufacturer of the STLs we're going to talk about today, Saucermen Studios. They sent me a couple of STLs for objective room, which is what we're looking at today, and some other bits and pieces for terrain and for bases and stuff like that. I'm going to look at those later. We're not doing those today because this is all about the tournament stuff. Oh, and a quick note, you'll find a link to the 2 STLs that we're reviewing in the comments below. Why does it matter? So at the moment there's ITS pack over here. We're in ITS 16, about to go to 17. If you are playing ITS missions, you will need objectives. I don't know if you've ever looked into it. I have. In ITS 16, you need 4 40mm antennas, 6 40mm tech coffins, 4 40mm consoles, 4 40mm objectives, which are various things, 3 25mm supply boxes, 2 25mm beacons, and 1 8" by 8" objective room. If you're going to do all the missions and you want to have them looking pretty, those are what you need. 3D printing has stormed through the war gaming industry. There's no two ways about that. There are people printing everything from entire tables of terrain. I have friends that are doing it. Stunning work. All the way through to miniatures, especially with bolt action and stuff like that. Tanks appearing from nowhere. I have some 3D printed tanks. So 3D printing is kind of ubiquitous, appearing everywhere inside the industry, but in my experience, there are 2 types of wargamer where it comes to 3D printing. There are the ones who have a 3D printer and are really heavily into it, and then there's the rest of us who are like, okay. And if you don't know your 3D printing, if you're not a 3D printing fan, you haven't done it, it doesn't interest you, like me, no interest in getting a 3D printer at all, then it can be a little bit bewildering, a little bit, well, okay, where do I start? So if you're looking at this and thinking, okay, it's great, you're going to review these STLs, but I have no way of printing this stuff, and I don't want to buy a printer and all the rest of it. A hint, a little tease for you. What you do is you go to your local wargaming community, ideally online, WhatsApp group, whatever you're using, and you innocently, and there's 2 things you need to do here in quick succession. You type out, I'm thinking about buying a 3D printer, which one should I get? And then very quickly, you hit enter, and then you mute the conversation. And you give it 24 hours. Because it's just going to be woof, opinions and thoughts and questions. It's the evangelists of the 3D printer are an enthusiastic bunch. And they will have views and opinions. And what you need to do is you go back 24 hours later, and you look through all the replies you've got. And anyone who says, you need the John Smith version 5 with a 50mm nib doodly-doo-doo, you ignore them, okay? They've bought a printer, they are convinced it's the best thing, and therefore they think you should be convinced it's the best thing, and that's the only one you should buy. What you're looking for is you're looking for the person who says, well, depends what you're trying to do. If you kind of want something like this, if you're a beginner, and they have questions, because those people haven't just bought into it. This is something that they do, something that interests them. It's not a fad for them, it's something they're really engaged with. And they will know their shizzle, and they will probably own multiple 3D printers of various different breeds because there are different types. Here we are. It's the world we live in now, kids. Those are the people you want to print your stuff. And so you very politely say, actually, probably a bit technical. Would you mind printing some stuff for me if I have the files? Works every time. It's great. Because it's very technical doing the 3D printing. There is all kinds of preparation of the file you need to do. There's the setup of the actual machine. There's all kinds of factors that go. I was privy and completely, sorry lads, disinterested in a conversation that happened in my local community recently about the temperature and the impact that was having on people's ability to 3D print. I was there. I read the whole thing. And it's great. They know their stuff, and I love it, and it's really great because I get to get stuff printed. Don't care. It's not me. It's not my thing. And if it's not your thing, that's cool. But you should still be able to get hold of this kind of stuff. So why is it good? Why is it really, really useful? Knowing now, as we've just talked about, that there are 23 different types of marker to use in ITS 16, and probably the same, maybe more, maybe a few less, whatever, in ITS 17. If you're going to buy MDF cut ones, if you're going to get pre-made ones from a company, those can get expensive. And if you are a TO, like myself, then it can also get incredibly expensive to do multiple tables. For example, if you're going to run the, I've forgotten the mission. There's a mission with 6 tech coffins in it. If you're going to run that mission with 6 tech coffins and you are going to play a 20-man tournament, 20-player tournament, 10 tables, that's 60 objectives that you need. 60. And they are normally a few euros per piece from companies that manufacture them for a living. So let's say that they're €3 each that you buy them. They're resin, they're €3 each. And you need 60. That's €180 you need to spend on objectives. Now, I hear you. The people that bring the tables should supply the objectives. No, they shouldn't. If they're friends and you ask them to help, then you can ask them, but they may not be able to. And also, you potentially end up with a very, very inconsistent look and feel across the table. You'll get people who are fine with cardboard. You'll get people who are fine with unpainted MDF. You'll get people who turn up with tech coffins that are 40mm. They're actually on 25mm bases. Oh, I didn't realise they needed to be 40. Now, anyone playing on the table with a 25mm tech coffin has a disadvantage because it's going to take more orders to get in base-to-base contact with a 25mm base than it is with a 40mm base. We've just put a disadvantage in the table. I tend to try to have a full set of printed, painted objectives with me for every table that I'm going to run. And yes, it sucks. There are exceptions. The objective room is the exception. But I have boxes of objectives just so that people can have, if you look at it like, oh, that's the wrong size, use these. That's not painted. Would you mind if I use these because they're painted? It helps. But that's going to build up very, very quickly. If you're running 3 missions and each one has a different configuration of objectives and you just have a rush of poop to the brain and you have some with beacons and some with tech coffins and some with antennas and you want them all to look different, you're going to spend hundreds and hundreds of euros on this and it's going to suck. I have hit that many times, and so when Saucermen, back to the story, when Saucermen approached me, it was kind of like, okay, maybe it's time I got some of these printed. Maybe this is the time. So I said, sure, I requested the things, they sent them through. I then sent them off to my good friend Phoenix Blade, who spent a long period of time printing them off for me and getting them all done. And what we are going to be talking about today is 2 STLs. The first one is called the Infinity Tokens and Objectives STL, and the other one is the Objective Room 8x8 STL. There's the technical terms for it. The STL for objectives contains 18 different designs of objective marker. There are antennas, there are tech coffins, there are also turrets, because you use turrets quite a lot in Infinity at the moment, so you have those. Beacons and supply boxes and all these obvious things, one of each, so you can print out multiple. That bad boy comes in at €7, which is not bad. Is not bad at all. The objective room is an 8" by 8" building. We'll look at it in a minute. I've got one right here. And that comes in at €4. Now, I got a load of these printed. I got multiple objective rooms printed, and I got multiple objectives printed, and I think I spent about €30. As a cross comparison to buying each individual one, if you're going to do multiple tables, if you're going to do multiple tournaments, and you want to ensure consistency and all the rest of it, that price point, it can't be beat. And it is one of those things that running a tournament environment, it can get very, very expensive if you want to ensure that quality, if you want to ensure that consistency. But speaking of quality, how did they turn out? Well, here's some of the ones that were used at a recent tournament. So this is, for me, a Panoply. Painted up, obviously. It's not what they started with. We have a Tech Coffin. Now, I've done a very, very basic paint job on these, just enough to make them look table ready, basically. And then another Tech Coffin, because I can't remember what missions we were doing, but they were all Tech Coffin friendly. I painted a load of these. I mean, loads. They're everywhere over here at the moment. For an event, and I did several tables worth in less than an evening. Just airbrush. I know airbrush not for everyone, but you can do a similar effect with dry brushing. This is a really simple, basic paint job and really effective. And that on the table looks absolutely fine. You put that down for players, that looks absolutely great. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it. There's no construction. This is all as it comes off. A little bit of cleanup at various points. But it's quick and it's easy. And then you can get these multiple tables of terrain, of objective markers processed and done and out of the way. And the other ones, I mean, these aren't painted yet, but like we have the small, I guess, what, supply box maybe? A little supply box? Maybe a beacon. It's a cute little beacon actually. In fact, there's a beacon. It's not been cleaned up, but there's a little beacon as well. These are all in this same set. These are all in the same set. And a little turret. It looks like a camera, but it's a turret. There's some supply boxes. We have multiple supply boxes because you never know how many different designs you're going to need. And that's just some. These are uncleaned up, as you can see. They've got ridges and stuff on them. But from the perspective of the cost, so I'm just realising I haven't. Anyway, from the perspective of the cost to get yourself playing and your tournaments running, that can't be beat. It's quick, it's efficient, and these designs, I think they are really innovative. You look at a lot of the designs out there, they're kind of very similar. So you get one type of thing in the STL pack and that's it. But, you know, we have multiple supply boxes here, so you can have different feels. For example, Panoe type tables, get this one, whereas the more Asian persuasion, get the slicker, modern awesomeness. I don't know why, just works in my head. So you can have a completely different look and feel. You can have different looks and feels for different tables within your community. It works. And having spoken to Phoenix Blade, the files were clean, easy to set up, and quick to get running. So that's exactly what you need. That is exactly what you need. With regards to the objective room, now this is a little bit harder to show because it's an 8-inch by 8-inch building. But there we go. I'm going to put other pictures up on the board, but as you can see, there's some nice details on here. It's got some character to it. It's not just a box with walls. We have a roof. Why that's important, we'll talk about in a minute. We have a floor in there, which is also textured, and the interior walls also have texture and designs on them as well, and that pops out. And then on the sides, we have doors. They just slide in and out. These, again, haven't been cleaned up yet. They will be soon. So this is a fraction of the cost of some of the objective rooms that are out there. When you look at them, I mean, this one also comes with this in the middle. So this, for last launch, if you've seen that, you have a console in the middle, you hit and boop, and go, that's this kind of thing. That's what it's for. Sit in the middle. And this, the roof actually has, they're not stuck on yet, but it has some little Rayleigh numbers that go on, so you've got some detail there. If you look at other third-party objective rooms, they can be horrifically expensive. I think the cheapest 8x8 I've seen, it was about €30, stretching up to over 100 when you've bought the roof and all the rest of it. That's a lot of money. Even at 30 euros, again, if you're doing 10 tables, that's 300 euros. That's a lot of cash. And yes, some of your community will have some of them will be happy to buy them. That's true. But if you're the TO, you need to ensure quality, you need to ensure that they are all there and all the rest of it. You need to check with all your players, people supplying tables. Just say, have you got one? If they haven't, someone's got to supply it. And if you're the TO, it kind of falls to you. This brings the price down to a fraction. Again, a fraction of the cost of buying it online. Yes, you have to paint all this stuff. You have to paint this. But it doesn't, you can go as far or as basic as you want. These are all going to get, I've got a grey table and I've got a sand table. And one of them's going to be grey and one of them's going to be sand. I've got some graffiti that's going to go on there, some little warning decals and stuff. And I'm going to do a little bit of weathering. I'm probably going to spend 6 or 7 hours on each one of these. I have 2. I should get 3 really. That would have made more sense to have 3 tables. Anyway, I'll probably spend 6 or 7 hours on each one of them just so they look nice. Seal them up with a decent varnish so that they don't get chipped too easily. Done. But you don't have to go that far with it. It's entirely up to you. You can do a really basic paint job and they'll still look fantastic. And for the price point, it's great. It's also worth saying as well, it's nice that these have roofs on them. If you know your ITS missions, most of the objective rooms are infinite height, so they don't have a roof that's playable. They're just... However, with a roof one, with ones with roofs on, when that mission is over, if you're playing a tournament and you've got 3 games, for the next mission where you don't have an infinite height room, you can just put the roof on it and it's a normal building then. This is so much more useful than having to take off a objective room at the end of the mission and then put other stuff in and rearrange the table, which can potentially throw out the balance of the table and makes a different experience for the next people who are playing on it. And If you can just stick the roof on it and go, right, that's now a normal building, crack on, happy days. It just makes life easier. So the fact that it comes with a building, roof as standard is really, really helpful and makes it a lot more useful. So overall, I'd say if you are planning to run tournaments, if you are planning to play all of the ITS missions and you, like me, want the different looking objective markers, you don't just want generic objective marker 2. You want an antenna, a tech coffin. These are phenomenal. The ones that, as I say, that were printed, they were no real hassle. The price point was fantastic from my perspective, and it made doing these events, doing these things for me as a TO suddenly way more cost effective, way more sensible. I could get the quality on the table day one. It was we were good. We could afford to do that. So yeah, there you go. That is my thoughts overall on these STLs. They're phenomenal. Saucermen Studios, bravo. Thank you again so much for providing them to us to have a look at. I am a convert now. I wasn't before. I was dubious. I'm now a convert of 3D printing objectives and objective rooms. Not just from the cost side of things, but the quality is there too. So bravo. Thank you very much for that. Guys, what are your views on 3D printing? Have you 3D printed? Are you nervous about it? Do you have any questions? Stick them in the comments below. There will be somebody who stayed, even though they're an expert, who has stayed and is there to give your opinions and thoughts, which is great. Let us know in the comments below. Let us know what you think. I think it's the wave of the future. So this is a good thing. And companies like Saucermen Studios producing this kind of quality is a good sign. Aside from that, do please like, share, subscribe, get the word out there. And as I said before, if you haven't already, do consider signing up as a member. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you all again soon. Goodbye.